So among all the cases the U.S. Supreme Court is taking up this week, there is this one. The former high school football coach in the state of Washington. He lost his job after praying with his team on the field after games. This happened back in 2015, but it brings back the larger issue of prayer in public schools. That brings our 9 News legal analyst to join us, Whitney Traylor, talking about it now. Let's talk about what the coach is bringing to the Supreme Court. What is the argument from that side?
Right. So the coach is saying that this is violating his private freedom of speech is one of the arguments, and he's analogizing it to, giving a cross sign after scoring a touchdown. But the main argument is this religion argument, in which he's saying this is a violation of my free exercise of religion. Because the school district said, look, we have a policy that says employees cannot prohibit or discourage or encourage religion. And here he was saying this was my private expression, no students had to do it, but the district said it was right after the game, a bunch of students are surrounding you and you're saying it loud enough so that people can hear. Right, so
both teams would gather often for that prayer.
Yeah.
So many, oftentimes, these are the oral arguments. We kind of learn a little bit from what the justices asked, the questions they asked.
Right.
What were the general questions that they were asking?
Yeah, and that they did, I think, signal some things. So Justice Sotomayor said, well, what if the coach had a swastika on his arm and wanted to go do, that was his exercise of religion, and how far should the school allow that, and would that, right? And so she was saying, well, this should go to an extreme. Now Justice Kavanaugh was saying, well, we need to bury some of the old precedent, and so a lot of people are saying he's referring to the historic separation of church and state, with prayer being abolished and things like that. So it looks like the conservative court is going to be moving towards accommodating religion in public institutions.
Burying precedent, also creating precedent, of course, as the Supreme Court does every time it rules. But part of this, it seems like it is baked into that argument of church and state. But we were talking in the break a little bit about some of it is like almost unofficial, the stigmatization of whether you are or aren't participating in these things.
That's a great point, and that was one of the arguments that the lawyers made, was there is this stigma. Everybody, and even Justice Kavanaugh referenced it because he coaches his daughter's team, that everybody wants to be close to the coach. And of course, if somebody's standing aside who's a non-Christian, a Muslim, a Sikh, someone who, an atheist, which is also protected, that the notion of not believing in any God. So they're saying that, yeah, that does have a stigma, and there's this sort of push to participate, which is going to be, a problem because we're in a public institution.
And somebody stands out. So implications going forward, what do you think they are?
Well, I think that the court is going to move towards more accommodation of religion in public schools. Some people are saying that they think it could go to the extreme, which is state-sanctioned or endorsed prayer in public schools. I don't think that's the case, but I think what you're going to see is more of these cases coming forward, and it's really the students who are suffering, because there was all of this media attention. There was a state legislator praying with the coach, and so the students, now it's become a real public issue, and you're kind of making a statement whether you participate or not.
We'll keep an eye on, of course, the Supreme Court, and we'll always be willing to tap you for more information about what's going on there. Thanks as always, Whitney.
All right, good to be here. Thanks.